If there's something strange in your favourite movie, who are you gonna call? This bastard! Ghostbusters, later marketed as Ghostbusters Answer the Call, is a 2016 supernatural comedy film directed by Paul Feig. It's a reboot of the 1984 film of the same name and the third film overall in the Ghostbusters franchise. The film tells the story of four women who actually begin a ghost-catching business in New York City. However, due to a lot of factors, including the fact the trailer is the most disliked video in YouTube history, even above my videos, and the fact that people didn't really like the film, it was slated, even before the film was released, so it lost a lot of money. Eventually, the studio abandoned plans, eventually opting for a sequel to the original films instead. So what was wrong with the film? Well, allow me to discuss 10 things wrong with Ghostbusters 2016. Number 10, Characterizations. One of the things that made the original film so brilliant was the fact that you had four very unique characters. It's not something that happened in this version of the film. In fact, what's actually happened is you've got the four original characters, moulded them together to make one character and just copied that character 3 more times. So you've got 4 characters that all are the same. And that's why it didn't really work as well as the original, because in the original, like I said, 4 different characters made it very dynamic, which was missing from this film. Number 9, wrong humour. So what made the 1984 version so funny? Well, the reason is it was trying not to be funny. The humour was quite serious, and that's where the humour came from, because it was funny because they were not trying to be funny. Whereas in this film, they were trying to be funny. In fact, they tried too hard to be funny. For example, Melissa McCarthy goes, "I've lost my glasses, anyone know where my glasses are? Oh, they're in my hand." Sorry, that's not funny at all. Tone down some of the humour to make it actually about the film. For example, Slimer drives past in the Ecto-1 and she goes, "Well, somebody's having a good day." That was funny because you weren't trying to make that funny. And that's where the humour from the original film worked and it failed in this one. But there was more to the humour that makes it even worse. Number 8, too shouty. Now this is something I'm not a big fan of, is the shouty type of humour, where you are trying to shout and ram your humour down your throat so much, and I don't find that funny. Now I know there is a market for it, I'm just not into that. And that's what this film does quite a lot. And unfortunately, I do think it hurts these actresses. Now I said in a previous video a few weeks ago about Wonder Woman 1984 that Kristen Wiig was brilliant in that film. Why? Because it was toned down. Her performance was toned down. It wasn't a shouting. She was funnier and more menacing and more believable. And now if she carries on roles like that, she could have an even better career than what she's had so far. The same with Melissa McCarthy. It's very shouty. Why? And Leslie Jones, I know her whole act, ever since she's done Saturday Night Live, is shouty, but does it need to be? Does it need to be all the way through the film where you are shouting your jokes all the way through? Once, maybe twice, maybe, but not all the way through the film. It sort of diminishes. Tone it down a bit. Maybe some of the humour that you're trying so hard to get would actually be a little bit funnier. Number 7, bad guy. So once again, in the 1984 film, the bad guy is a ghoul trying to break their way into our dimension from somewhere else. Makes it supernatural, makes it paranormal. So who's the bad guy in this film? A nobody loser trying to make ghosts so he can become a ghost so he can have revenge on New York City. It wasn't as paranormal as the original film. I didn't quite like that the bad guy was human. Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, the bad guy was a ghost. That's what we want. We want Ghostbusters against ghosts, not wannabe ghosts who end up being ghosts. Number 6, slime. Now there is probably an explanation for this one, so if you know why this happens, please put it in the comments below. But why do the ghosts explode with slime when they're hit with something? Now, in the original film, if they went through something, they just left a thin residue. I would believe that. But in this film, no, they don't. A ghost goes through a wall, the wall fires back tons and tons of slime. Ghost gets hit by a train over and over and over again. Slime exploding, exploding, exploding. Why? Why was there exploding slime? To try and make an unfunny joke, which was funny once in one scene in the original film? That's what made it work, because it was in one scene. Not every time a ghost shows up. Number 5, Kevin. I do get the feeling that this film was trying to be very anti-men. Granted, it had a lot of backlash of, we're going to do an all-female version of Ghostbusters, and I'm going to stay away from that bit because I can see the potential in it. It was just, you took it too far with the anti-men. The bad guy is a complete and utter loser, and your receptionist is a complete and utter moron who wears glasses without glass and doesn't know how to answer the phone, doesn't know how to do anything. I mean, luckily, Liam Hemsworth is a brilliant actor and pulled it off fantastically, and I know he eventually gets taken over to become the ultimate bad guy as well. That was believable. But why? Janine in the original Ghostbusters, she was a stereotypical 80s receptionist. It worked. She was funny. And when she came back for the sequel, she was funny as well. It worked. But this, it wasn't funny. Number 4, the Ghostbusters Name. Quite a lot throughout the film, they keep complaining that they're being called Ghostbusters. We're not the Ghostbusters, we're whatever the hell they said it was. All the way through, it's we're not the Ghostbusters, we don't want to be called the Ghostbusters. Here's the kicker, their YouTube channel was called The Ghostbusters. So if you didn't want to be called Ghostbusters, why call your YouTube channel Ghostbusters? It's like me saying to people, I don't like to be called Berryman. My channel's called Berryman. People are going to call me Berryman. In fact, people do actually call me Berryman. Why call your YouTube channel if you don't want to be called it? Anybody? And what makes it even worse is somebody who grew up in the 80s. Me and my friends, we used to pretend and love to be called the Ghostbusters. That was our gang. And then we turned into Ninja Turtles as we got a little bit older, but that's a different story. Being a Ghostbuster was cool. This film's trying to make it not cool. And that, my friend, is not cool. Number 3, equipment. Is it just me, or does the equipment in the original 1984 version of this film look a lot better than it did in this version? So technology 30 years before is better than technology now. Maybe it's just me that I'm just a fanboy of the original Ghostbusters and I didn't like the more realistic version of the equipment, but still, it looked better. I know it's only aesthetics, but let's face it, their equipment and their uniforms looked better. Number 2, balloon ghosts. Okay, here's another one that I need someone to explain to me. But ghosts are living people, well, were living people that died normally a horrible, not nice death. That's what a ghost normally is. So can someone explain to me how a balloon is a ghost? A balloon's not alive. It's not going to come back as a ghost at all. Anyone? Any theories? Put them in the comments below. John Joe, do a video about ghosts and if they can be balloon ghosts, please. Number 1, logo. Before anyone says, what was wrong with the logo? Well, there's nothing wrong with the logo. The logo was cool in 1984 and it's something the film did perfectly by not changing the logo. So why am I complaining about the logo? You turn the logo into the bad guy. That's a no. It doesn't affect the film, and I can understand where the filmmakers are going with it. In fact, I can see their point of view. It was just wrong. You don't turn the logo into the bad guy. That's just a no. End of. Final thoughts. So here we go. What am I going to say about Ghostbusters 2016? Well, here's the shocker. It has some great, and I mean some fantastic ideas and thoughts of what they could do with this film. I don't actually mind having the all-female team. The original was an all-male team, but that's because it was a friend's pet project headed by Dan Aykroyd. That was fine, so I sort of understand, and I'm not going to say that was a bad thing. But there were good things on this as well, like the bad guy actually attacking the Ghostbusters. That I actually have no problem with. I actually liked it. The fact that we actually saw the other dimension as well at the end of the film. There are so many good ideas. The car actually being a converted hearse. That's actually a nice little touch. It actually flows using a car that carries dead people to catch ghosts. It works. And even though I don't like it, the idea of using the logo as the bad guy was a bad idea, but I can understand it. But that's the thing with this film. There are so many good little things with this film. So why did it fail? Well, it was the execution. It's tried way too hard. Way too hard. And that is why this film failed. If they just eased up, no shouting, make the humour situational comedy rather than trying to make stupid jokes every 5 seconds, it would have worked. This film also did some good things. The special effects are amazing. I mean, they were good in 1984, but in this film, whew, they are brilliant. And I'm not a fan of CGI, and yeah, I love these. The updated soundtrack, same again. Having Fall Out Boy doing the Ghostbusters theme tune, spot on. But everything, there was so much good about this film. It's just a shame. It could have worked. It really could have worked. The cameos, yeah, but I'm not going to be overly that harsh. As I said, it's the humour and the execution is where this film failed. And that is the biggest thing in any film. So what am I going to rank it? I'm going to hit it straight down the middle and say 5. 5 out of 10 berries is my rankings for this film. Well, that's what I think. What do you think? Did you enjoy this film? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see your thoughts. And if you do, put your rankings out of 10. That would be great. On to next week. You have to come back next Sunday, find out what I'm doing. And if you want to get in touch with me, please search at Berryman81. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, I'm there. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you've made it this far, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Take care, bye-bye.